The Armour All Summer Grill, your off-season fix of V8 Supercars news and views, with Grant Rowley and Cameron McConville.
The Armour All Summer Grill returns today, and we're talking about the disappointments of the 2011 V8 Supercars Championship. Now, it seems a little unfair to pick out some of those guys who might have struggled. There can only be one guy who walks away with the big trophy. There are a few notables who perhaps didn't have the season that they really wanted and performed below expectations. Some of those guys that I could name are guys like Stephen Johnson, Todd Kelly, Jonathan Webb, Michael Caruso, Russell Ingall, guys who really performed below their expectations. Cam, it's a very difficult championship, an extremely competitive championship. I mentioned some of those guys, but there's probably a lot more you could add in there as well.
Yeah, look, I think it's hard when you've got a strong teammate. If you've got a teammate that's right up the front of the championship, the second driver might actually be not doing such a bad job, but it looks bad relative to him. Now, I think on Steve Johnson, interesting you mention him because Steve's been in the top 10 in the championship for so long, and he's one of those guys that you entrust with your equipment because he'll never scratch it and he'll bring it back and super consistent. But I think his teammate probably showed him up a bit in the back half of the year. Michael Caruso, another one that I think needs to step up next year, and now that he's probably going to be the lead driver at GRM. Hard for Jonathan Webb as a smaller one-car outfit and in a bit of a transition year as well. But certainly Stevie's a lovely bloke, but I think even by his high expectations, he probably underperformed a little bit this year.
One of the guys that I'd mentioned before was Todd Kelly. Now, of course, he runs his own V8 Supercars team, the Jack Daniels Racing team, 4-car Kelly Racing operation. It must be really hard for him considering his involvement in the day-to-day running of his operation and being a race driver. Yeah,
that's right, and I'm assuming that Rick probably focuses more on the driving side. I don't know the inner workings of Kelly Racing, but even by Todd's own admission, he said that he may not drive forever, and if he underperforms, he'll step aside. I'm interested to see what happens in the next sort of year or two, whether he does do that. He was pretty strong at Sandown in some of the races at the very end of the season, but overall I think he'd probably be disappointed with his driving performance.
SpeedCafe.com's Stefan Bartholomaeus caught up with Todd Kelly to speak about his 2011 season.
Todd, pretty good season for Jack Daniels Racing, not so much for the 7-car. Can you just give us a bit of a review of your own performance this year in the driver's seat?
Yeah, it started off all right. It was a little bit of a low through the middle of the year there for a lot of reasons, but from Simmons or even towards the end of the Gold Coast round on, started to feel a lot better in the car and how we've arrived with our setup. So the second half of the year has not been too bad. There's a few things that happen at races which put us back quite a bit. We should have been near on the front row in qualifying at Simmons if it wasn't for traffic, and then same thing at Sandown in the wet where I busted a damper out of the front of it early in qualifying. The car was awesome, really fast, and so there's a potential for a lot better results there, and certainly come together towards the end of the year, which is good because it always helps to end on a little bit of a better note to go through Christmas and be enthusiastic about the next year.
Talk us through the changes you made to your off-track role and whether that's helped you in the second part of the year.
Yeah, we've made as many changes as we could through the year to ease the workload away from the racetrack. With John Crennan being CEO of our race team has been fantastic. The majority of his role is more the commercial side, and we've also had a little bit of help towards the end of the year with Tony Dow coming over from America to help with a lot of the stuff that happens at a race weekend, to take a little bit more load off. So we're slowly chipping away at that, doing as many things as we can, and I would say we're probably about 75% of the way towards where we need to be with that.
It must feel like a while now since you were a consistent race winner in this category. Do you feel you can get back to that level?
Yeah, I mean, I drove from at Sandown in the wet from 14th, and I lost 2 or 3 spots, went back to 17th, and then lost spots in the pit stop, and still drove the thing to the podium and ran out of laps to get up to second. So I'm feeling fine in the car, and what's been good is the last few rounds of the season, people have stopped talking about retirement and just kind of let me get on with my job as a driver a bit, and there's no dramas with me being able to do the job, so there's a few years left in me yet.
That was Todd Kelly. Stefan also caught up with Fujitsu Racing's Michael Caruso, who'd agreed that the 2011 season wasn't the one he was really after.
Michael, very competitive championship, 2011. Just give us your summary of your season.
Look, I think personally I'm really happy with the way I performed, but obviously the things that went within the team, in terms of development chassis that we ran this year, probably wasn't the ideal way to run. But look, the important thing is, as a team, we understand where we went wrong, and that's been clear ever since I've been in the new car, and the speed's been fantastic. And obviously, the way we finished off in Sydney is a good indication of probably where we'll be for next year.
So you've been very strong on street circuits, the Gary's cars, but the Sydney performance you think was a genuine step forward?
Look, yeah, definitely the Sydney performance itself, but I mean, we have a second row at Phillip Island, so the permanent circuit pace is there as well. So, the combination of putting all that together next year is the important part, and what we'll definitely be aiming to do. And I think, like I've said before, and I've been saying all year, that the team have the confidence in myself, and I have the confidence in the team. They've proven it, in the past, and I think now, obviously, with Lee moving on, it gives me an opportunity to lead the team in a new direction, and in a direction that we're all happy to go in.
That was Michael Caruso. You're on the Armour All Summer Grill, speedcafe.com's exclusive video content. We've got more tomorrow.